crazy crab in the house, and today gonna do my Terminator ranking as I get set for Terminator Dark Fate coming out in a couple days. I'm gonna be there. I've been looking forward to this movie. I don't know why it had to come out early in Europe, because now I'm seeing just thumbnails and clickbaits and headlines all over the place talking about the movie, giving away spoilers. I'm trying not to see it. I don't want to know. I'm seeing headlines about how horrible it is and how bad it is and how woke it is. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Can I go into this movie excited, please? Can I go into this movie and at least have the delusion that it's going to be good? I don't want it spoiled. I don't want the experience spoiled. If the experience gets spoiled by the movie itself, so be it. Been there before, Last Jedi, so that wouldn't be the first time that's ever happened, but I do want to go in at least hoping for something good. So don't tell me nothing. I don't want no one I don't want C-3PO over in my ear. But sir, the odds of this movie being good are 7,127 to 1. Shut up, 3PO. Shut up. I don't want to know the odds. I just want to go check this movie out. But before I do that, I'd love to give you a ranking of how I feel about the franchise. And the reason I'm excited for the movies, because there's really no movies in the Terminator franchise that I absolutely hate, although there are definitely some that I don't like. So we'll go through them quickly. I'm not going to take forever. I'm not going to go through big reviews. Just gonna go through some key points. So starting with the number 5. There's 5 movies to go through, and for me, number 5. And I hate to say it, because this was the one I was most excited about out of all of them, even more so than T2, because I was just a kid then and didn't really know how awesome this franchise was yet. Coming in at number 5 is going to be Terminator Salvation, and this is one that, was a movie that I wanted so bad for so long, the movie that takes place in the future, the John Connor timeline in the future where he is the leader of the resistance. He's going to eventually send back Kyle Reese to the past, and that was probably going to happen, but they never got to that film. This was supposed to be a trilogy, but the first movie in the trilogy was such a disappointment, with fans and everything, that they didn't make any more, and it's too bad. I think they would have gotten better, but this particular one wasn't that great of a movie. I mean, just in general, I just didn't like the movie. It just didn't feel like it had much heart. I didn't like the dialogue. I thought it was kind of just a stupid movie. There was some nice explosions. I did like the look of it, the future look. Everything looked pretty cool. Even though it didn't exactly look like the flashbacks from the old movies, that's okay. This was the early stages of the war. Maybe not the super early stages, but it was, Kyle Reese was just like a teenager at the time. So this was kicking off the war. We were going to get to see the whole war, and this first movie that ended up being the only movie in the trilogy, Salvation, just wasn't good. I didn't like the storyline they went with. Obviously, I was super excited for Christian Bale being cast as John Connor. His personality was quite different than the John Connors we'd seen before, and maybe that's to be expected. He matured, time passed, and everything, so I can definitely deal with it, but all in all, just the storyline they went with Sam Worthington's character, and just overall, the movie itself felt like just popcorn, explosion, entertainment, Transformer style. And I hate that. I hate that, because Terminator's always been about heart and soul, even if the movies aren't always perfect. It's a story about people, and there were people here and their characters there, but there's a lot of fan service in this one as far as some of the dialogue and some things like that. Some of the fan service is okay, but a lot of it's just stupid. Plot holes in this one, just gaping plot holes, not like you have to reach and talk about time travel to get the plot holes, just stuff that doesn't make sense. I just didn't like the movie. I can watch it. I watch it when I marathon the Terminator franchise. I didn't like this movie. I didn't hate it, but I certainly didn't like it. There's really nothing in it that's memorable that I really think about. Yeah, I love that part. I love that part. Nothing really stands out. It's just kind of dumb. Next up is going to be the 2015 Terminator Genisys. And this one, speaking of kind of dumb, this one went dumb too. But it took some time before it went dumb. To me, the start of this movie, I was loving it. I was really into this movie. And I know it's talking, it's an alternate timeline and everything. They're messing with the timeline. I don't mind that. You got to come up with something here. You got an older Arnold Schwarzenegger. So they come up with a different timeline where he's back early in Sarah Connor's life. He's sent back to protect her from an early age, and we're in an alternate timeline. So this time, when Kyle Reese goes back, he's not going to that scared waitress. He's going to a badass Sarah Connor who's already trained and knows what's up. So it's a really interesting idea, and I was really into it. And I thought that the actors did good. I don't have a problem with their performance. Emilia Clarke was all right. I mean, yeah, of course she's not Linda Hamilton. She's not Linda Hamilton. She's not going to meet that bar, or much less exceed it. So I know this going in, but she did good. She did fine. So it was enjoyable. You look at it, I don't look at this as official canon by this point. I'm just going in to have a fun time. And the same goes for Dark Fate. Just going in to have a good time and hoping it's a good movie, good Terminator movie. As far as canon, Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, that's what it's all about. After that, hey, we got all this kind of craziness, alternate timelines. They're basically fan films, but they're still fun. And I still love checking out these movies. And this one I had a great time with up until about halfway through the movie. They go into the future, and then things go nuts after that, and it's just a little too crazy for my taste. When you got the John Connor's now some kind of advanced, I don't know, T3000, who knows? He's just, the T1000 should be the standard of, the top of the line machine, what it can do. But no, they want to top that, and it's just doesn't work, and much less you're destroying John Connor. I mean, it was just a bad idea. That was supposed to be a trilogy also, and no surprise, it didn't turn into a trilogy. A movie that I liked the first half, disliked the second half. Next on the list is going to be Terminator 3. Terminator 3 was the first movie that really started milking the cow. This is the movie that, of course, was not totally necessary. Not that any movie's necessary, but you get my drift. I mean, this was just like, how can we keep making more Terminator movies? And they just come up with this idea that Judgment Day was not necessarily stopped in part 2. It was just postponed. So now they can kind of rehash the same type of storyline, but this time the T-800 comes back to protect an adult John Connor as well as his future wife, who at this time is not even his wife or not even his girlfriend. So it is an interesting story. It is a really interesting idea, but a lot of people didn't like it because it just kind of killed the great moments of T2 in some people's minds. It says, okay, now all that was for nothing. They didn't really avoid Judgment Day, all that craziness. I get that, but again, I'm not considering all this stuff is not necessarily canon. It's a different timeline, and maybe there is a timeline where Judgment Day was avoided. Here's a timeline where it wasn't. This one doesn't have to be considered canon either. It's still, to me, it's a good movie. It's enjoyable. I love watching Terminator 3. When I'm watching these movies, I don't have any problem when I get to Terminator 3. I pop it in. I have a good time with it. It's fun. It's got some light, good humor that's really, some funny stuff that's not in-your-face type humor that we see today. Arnold is awesome in it. He's a different T-800 model. You can tell because he does a great job because he doesn't try to resume the T-800 from T2 that had already kind of developed and been around humans for a while. He was starting to grow a little bit of a personality, hanging around the kid John Connor. This is a totally new T-800, and you could tell he's freaking flat. I mean, he's straight machine. So, he doesn't have that personality or anything from the T2 Terminator. This is a different T-800. And I thought Nick Stahl was pretty good as John Connor. I didn't have a problem with it. I know this is a movie that a lot of people don't like. They think it's just a horrible Terminator movie. To me, it's not nearly as good as the first two, but it's still fine. I enjoy it, and I don't have any major issues with the movie because it is what it is. It's they start milking the cow. What do you expect? Same goes for every other Terminator movie that comes out, but I've always enjoyed them to some extent, except maybe for Salvation, as I talked about. Didn't really like that one at all. But this one, I do. I enjoy this one quite a bit. So Terminator 3 in at number 3. Coming in at number 2 is going to be the original Terminator. I didn't see this one until after T2, which I think applies to a lot of people. You went to go see it without seeing the original Terminator. That was my case. I was 11 years old, and I freaking loved it. Only later did I watch Terminator, the original Terminator, the 1984 version, and I thought it was sick. I mean, I loved it, but some of the special effects haven't aged really well. You can kind of tell. I'm not going to give away exactly what the problem is because I don't want people to notice it if you don't notice it, but there's very noticeable things in this movie that are like, yeah, that's fake, yeah, that doesn't look great, but they did an amazing job for the budget that they had for what they were working with for the time. 1984, it looks awesome. I mean, if you take all that into consideration, it looks really good. But the key to this movie is it's really a movie about people, about Sarah Connor, about Kyle Reese, and it's a love story, but not in your face. You so much amazing action. Arnold Schwarzenegger is unbelievable in this movie. So the original Terminator, just really no major flaws in it, unless you just want to go into the time travel and try to find some plot holes here and there. But all the great lines came from this movie. All the "I'll be back," "Come with me if you want to live." The lines they keep wanting to repeat in every freaking movie, which I don't think is necessary, but it's going to happen and continue to happen. Think about characters instead of just lines. Make your own new lines. Come on, have some originality, and that's what I'm hoping we see in this new movie. But yeah, Terminator, the original Terminator, great movie, awesome film. What started it all? It comes in at number 2. But number one, I'm going to go with T2, Terminator 2. They took a lot of chances in this one, and this is how you take chances that actually pay off. And I'm talking about, bringing in the T1000, the liquid metal, making Arnold Schwarzenegger now more or less a good guy. He's back there to protect. He's really not a good guy. He's still the same killer Terminator with no feelings, no emotions. And the awesome thing is they don't shy away from that. And part of that was Arnold's idea, but still, it's there and it's awesome because he's there to protect John Connor. And at one point, him and John Connor are arguing. A couple of motorcycle dudes come up and say, hey, is there a problem here? John Connor's like, man, get out of here. And John Connor tells Arnold, hey, man, take care of these dudes for me. And then Schwarzenegger, as the T-800, he starts to kill them. He's going to take out a gun and blow their brains out. And that's when John Connor says, hey, what? No, get out of here, get out of here. What are you, crazy? You can't just go around killing people. Why not? You just can't. Why not? He doesn't know. He was going to kill them. And then later he makes him promise not to kill anyone, so then he starts shooting guys in the legs. So this dude is the same psycho Terminator. He is a programmed freaking machine. He is not a human. So that's pretty cool. Although he does say, we find out, okay, the more he's around humans, the more he grows, the more he learns. And that's why towards the end of the film, he starts growing a little bit of a personality, and it really starts becoming emotional. He becomes a father figure to the kid. And yeah, a lot of heart, a lot of soul in this movie, a lot of amazing. T-1000 is absolutely sick. The special effects for 1991 are better than some of the special effects we see today. It's absolutely amazing. This one is one of my favorite movies of all time. Coming in at number one, T2, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. So thanks for checking out my ranking. Hope it wasn't too boring for y'all, and I hope the same about this new movie that I'm going to be checking out in a couple days here. It's coming out November 1st, maybe even the night before. There might be some showings, I'm not sure, so I'm going to be checking that one out here. I know it's out. A lot of people have seen it. You probably already know all about it. I don't, and I don't want to know, so let's just keep that quiet for now. I'm totally fanboying it on this movie, and I admit it, I am totally fanboying this movie. Okay, so it might break my heart, but we'll wait and see, and I'll give a review, a spoiler review, and of course a new ranking, and that movie will be in here. So thanks for joining me, guys. Have a great day. Subscribe today, and I'll talk to you next time. See ya.